everybody, Aaron with Fleetistics, and today we are going to be talking about different types of tracking. We are going to talk a little bit about tracking zero-turn mowers. We also have an opportunity to talk about trailer tracking. There are a lot of customers that lose these expensive commercial mowers to theft. We can track mowers to help recover them in the case that they're stolen, but we can also track the mowers to help indicate productivity. It's one thing to get to a job site. It's a completely different situation for that expensive piece of equipment to get right to work and to be busy throughout the course of the day. And if you're on a job for 4 hours, but you've only got 2 hours of cutting, then you've got to ask yourself, why? Why are we losing productivity? And we can do that through a physical GPS device hidden on the mower itself, or we can utilize a mobile app which can be provided to the driver, which has secondary benefits. So if you are using something like this in a commercial application and you are out in a remote area, let's say you're cutting a retention pond and you send somebody out to do it by themselves, or even if they're in a team and they're working in different areas but from the same vehicle, what happens if something happens to that that employee? The mower rolls over, the mower gets stuck, something of that nature. On a couple acre property, it might take you quite a while to figure out where they are, especially if they rolled down in an embankment or rolled into the water, God forbid. So having a mobile app that functions in addition to tracking the equipment, but it can also track the employee if they get up off the equipment and walk somewhere to do some work, provides some very nice secondary benefits. So we'll pop some screenshots of what a mower in action looks like through the mobile app, and then we can talk about what are some of the differences between mobile app tracking and device tracking. So the first thing I want to do though is I want to talk about where on earth can you install a tracking device on a zero-turn mower like this. So first I'm going to grab a tracking device and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we have a fairly typical battery-powered asset tracker, and this is just a off-the-shelf waterproof box that you can get almost anywhere. These asset trackers are typically IP67 rated, so they are ready for heavy vibration as well as a wet environment that you would typically find on a mower. If you want to provide some additional camouflage or you want to provide some additional protection, then a box like this can be that type of additional protection. You just simply put this inside of there. There's not going to be any interference. This is simply plastic, so it's not a problem. But this little tracker here can be hidden on the mower, and let's take a look at the mower itself and kind of discuss some areas that we might put a tracker like this and why some areas might be better than others. So let's switch over to the mower. Okay, so obviously we want to hide the tracker on the mower somewhere, and what we really have to be careful of is not putting it in a location that is going to interfere with the operation of the mower or going to interact with the things that are being cut. And when you have heavy vegetation, things like that, obviously that comes into play, and it could wipe the device off the mower if it's in the wrong location. So you start to get kind of limited. The other thing to take into account is that GPS now is way better than it used to be. So you can put these trackers upside down, sideways, all different angles. What you wouldn't want to do is completely surround them in metal, i.e. If you put it inside the control unit, like down in this area down here, you may not get the performance that you're looking for. Now that's a really, really good spot. So you just take the tracker that you have and put it in that environment and test it and see what happens, but understand that that is kind of the worst case scenario for placing a tracker. The next thing, or the next place to take a look would be, pretty typically would be like under the seat. So let's go ahead and pop the seat. And under the seat, we've got a few options. The first place to look is directly actually on the bottom of the seat, but you need to make sure that when the driver comes down, the unit isn't hitting some kind of surface down here, which the driver would be able to feel through his backside. So, be smart about where you locate it. And the second challenge in this location is what do you actually attach it to, and how are you going to attach it? Are you going to use the 3M automotive tape, which is really, really good stuff? It's almost, it's almost too hard to get it off if you decide that you want to move it later. If you put two strips of the 1-inch 3M automotive tape, this tracker is absolutely not going anywhere. You can also look up underneath the battery plate. So the battery sets on a piece of metal. You could look at sticking it up underneath that, or down in this area, there's actually a metal structural plate that connects the frame in two different areas, and you could put it underneath that. Somebody that's stealing this mower is not going to be looking in all those particular areas. I mean, they're thieves for a reason, right? They're going to take a quick look perhaps, but after they've done a quick look, they're going to move on to steal your mower, and hopefully at that point you'll have a GPS coordinate, and you know, obviously don't go recover the mower yourself, call the police and go get your mower, but also get the people arrested so they don't do it again the next time that you're out. So you know, you really got to kind of play and do some testing with the placement of the device, because these devices all vary too. You know, the quality of the GPS receiver, how they transmit, that type of thing varies between asset trackers and how they are configured. So you may have the same asset tracker as your buddy, but this one could be programmed differently from the one that your friend has. So that's something important to understand. Now let's talk a little bit about how these are going to perform as opposed to a vehicle tracking system, which might be on a vehicle. Anytime that you have a battery solution, you've got to be aware that you have to control how it reports. If you don't, and it just reports once every minute, then what's going to happen is this is going to die so fast that you are going to get very frustrated going around chasing batteries to replace them all the time. You could get a unit that wires into the mower with a backup battery, which is really kind of the best combination. So when the mower's running throughout the course of the day, it's recharging the batteries, but when the mower's off, the batteries in the unit are now supplying the tracking. And the tracking when the unit is powered is going to look different than it would when it was using the batteries. So you have to understand that difference. Now let's talk about mobile apps. We have a mobile app that you can put on Android or iOS, and it uses the phone's GPS, and it stores that information on the phone, and then you can look at that track information either on a portal, or we have a version that is less expensive that will email information in, and you can look at it you know, essentially from an email report. The portal one is great because you just log into a cloud account, and then you look at the assets, you know where they are throughout the course of the day. That's a little bit more traditional tracking that you are probably interested in doing. If you want to see if the guys got to the job site, then the mobile app would give you that visibility, and then you would start to be able to see them go back and forth as they were mowing and cutting and things like that. If they went MIA, you'd be able to see, you know, where they disappeared. But also in the mobile app, the other big advantage is that you get an SOS button, and that SOS button has a couple different ways of alerting. So if there is an emergency, somebody back in your office would get notified, and then you can call and try to get a hold of somebody or dispatch 911 out to the exact location, because you now know that. So it's a big safety variable, and we all know that with equipment like this, it only takes a second for things to go terribly wrong. And it could be a widowmaker dead tree that drops a limb because you hit the lower branch and all of a sudden it breaks off and it falls on somebody. You could slide this thing down into a pond, you could get stuck in mud, all different kinds of things that happen out there. You guys certainly know all the stories that you've encountered over the years. So, and it's possible that you want a asset tracker for theft, and then you would go with a mobile app to monitor the productivity side, right? So you can do combinations, and we can put all of that data into one GPS account where you can see everything. And when I say everything, that includes the trailer. So this type of unit is very well suited for mounting underneath a trailer like this. And if your trailer gets stolen, then you've got a chance to get it back. And then we can also incorporate vehicle tracking. So you're looking at vehicles, trailers, and equipment all in the same account, all in the same screen. One of our systems allows you to change the icons, so you could differentiate between those three things and really get a really good picture of what's going on out in the field. So if you have any questions about GPS tracking, vehicle tracking, asset tracking, how to do installs, what type of device is going to work best for you, what combination of mobile app and asset tracker is going to work for you, give Fleetistics a call and talk to one of our account managers. We've been doing this for over 20 years. And account managers are very experienced in talking through all different types of scenarios, and we have a lot of different technology that we can help you with, not only out of the box, but if you want something custom too, we've got free APIs that allow you to do integrations into other systems. So contact fleetistics.com and let us know, and we're here to help you. So thank you and good luck, and may you never have an expensive commercial mower stolen again.